How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether price is going up or down. Greg Wright hints Apple may be violating copyright by storing Bitcoin in white paper. Controversial computer scientist and self-proclaimed creator of Bitcoin, Greg Wright, today hinted that Apple was violating copyright laws. When asked on Twitter if Apple might be in breach of copyright for storing Bitcoin white paper on its computers, the Australian computer scientist responded by saying yes. And today he appeared to be making the point that Apple was sharing his alleged seminal work without asking for his permission first. Didn't know the Bitcoin white paper should need permission to share. If he wants people to know about Bitcoin, he should be happy that they were sharing this. But Wright has been criticized for making such a claim of being the owner of Bitcoin, as he does not have access to the wallet, the private keys to Satoshi's Bitcoin addresses. Since he doesn't have any access to Satoshi's Bitcoin addresses, how can he make the claim that he is Satoshi? Decrypt asked Wright whether he would try and sue Apple for breach of copyright, but he did not receive a response. I think some other articles said he was planning on going after Apple, so we'll have to kind of see, but without any proof that he's Satoshi, I don't think he'll have a leg to stand on. Head of Thailand opposition party promises $300 crypto airdrop if elected. So, just like some of our elected officials, they're buying votes. A contender to be the Prime Minister of Thailand is promising every citizen 10,000 Thai baht, approximately $300 in digital currency, if his party forms the government following a general election scheduled for May. But wait, there's issues with that. Candidate Sarada Tavasan promises basic income-style economic stimulus package via digital currency should his party win the next election. So, that thing right there is a stimulus package. You see how our inflation's doing. Our country has been economically bruised over the last 8 years with less income and more expenses for the people. The current government has been feeding IV drips with small money handouts, so the government's already paying stimulus. That's not the right way and doesn't stimulate the appropriate and right economic growth. They did not immediately return a request for comment via Twitter on what tokens would be used for an airdrop, but in 2021, the Bank of Thailand, the nation's central bank, declared that the Thai baht stablecoins to be illegal. So they're not going to be able to give you a stablecoin, at least in their country, so it had to be like USDT or something. The Bangkok Post quotes that the minister in the Prime Minister's office saying that the airdrop proposal would have major implications for the entire country's financial system. And that's true because if they're already giving you a stimulus, and they're going to give you another stimulus if this person goes through, then it could give them inflation kind of like we have. You don't want to print too much money at once. SBI Crypto sues Riot blockchain-owned data center for fraud and negligence. Bitcoin miner SBI Crypto is suing Whinstone US, a data center based in Rockdale, Texas, for misrepresenting its readiness to host a large-scale mining operation and for millions of dollars in damages as a result of delays and substandard conditions. The charges SBI Crypto is pursuing against the data center include fraud, fraudulent incitement of contract, fraud by non-disclosure, negligent bailment, and breach of hosting service agreement. Riot Blockchain acquired Whinstone US for $11.8 million in May 2021, and SBIC maintains that they did not conform to industry standards, and that the facility had frequently informed the miner that building permits, certifications, and power contracts were not needed for the facility to fulfill their end of the hosting service agreement. However, that turned out to be false. SBIC signed with the facility late in October 2019, but months prior to operations beginning in June 2020, about 8 months later, that documentation was in fact required to turn on the power. Under the initial agreement, Whinstone assured the miner it had secured commercial access for up to 1 gigawatt of aggregated electricity that can be delivered to the data center, but SBIC alleges that they did not secure that gigawatt of electricity by time they needed it, and did not begin signing power contract until just before operations began in summer of 2020. SBIC also claims that they never fulfilled its promise to deliver 20,000 mining machines to the site, going from a fleet of 16,200 in September 2020 down to 14,600 in April 21. So, not only did Whinstone not give the appropriate miners, or have the appropriate facilities for those miners, but they ended up shortchanging people on the terahash computing power that they were promised, so their return on investment wasn't even as good as they should have gotten. A representative of SBIC inspected the site in June 2021, and they opened some of the machines and saw that there was a lot of dust and corrosion. During the same visit, they looked at some other machines and noticed that they had some, dust filters, and Weinstone confirmed that these dust filters should have been on SBIC's equipment and was installed, but apparently it wasn't. So, onto the charts. So over on the daily, we're still within this little range we've been in the last day or so. RSI is still pretty flat, stochastic's falling, has a bearish cross, momentum still coming down, VWAP's heading down. Money flow oddly is somewhat kinda heading up, staying flat, so money flow's not really doing much. We did reject our point of control today, so if we continue this rejection, then it's likely we'll come to the value area low around 26.7. So if we look here on the 4 hour, you can see we bounced in and out of our channel a few times. This would be our third touch to the top, which this is a bullish pattern. So it does have the potential to bring us back up to this point of control, usually after the third touch or so we could get a breakout relatively soon. We do have a green dot here on the momentum wave. Our money flow did try to break bearish, however is curling up and trying to test bullish. Our VWAP is peaking just slightly bullish. Stochastic has a bullish cross and is heading up, and our RSI is pretty flat, so hopefully that stochastic keeps running up for that RSI to curl up. If we start to get that money flow to cross over, then it's possible we'll break above this pattern and we'll test this point of control, at which point if we break that point of control we could probably come to the high value area, but likely we'd have to fight this 18.4 level first. If you look at the 2 hour, about the same number of touches. Stochastic overall has been coming down with price, so that is good. If we look down here, we are getting a little bit of a bullish divergence that highlighted that kind of brought us back up. But usually when you hit the bottom of the channel, you'll come back up anyway, so that was just a bit of confirmation. Our momentum wave is heading up with a green dot, so that could print and confirm, and that would be a bullish sign for the 2 hour. Our VWAP is trying to head up. Money flow is barely leeching out, and it doesn't know where it wants to go, so we'll need that money flow to recover as well. Stochastic's trying to make a bullish cross here and head up. RSI is somewhat making a slight curl here and heading up, so we do have some signs we could push up, but we're going to need to get some momentum here in the next couple candles. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a possible bearish tweezer tops here. It had to be the same size as the screen candle, but you see usually when you get something like this you can head down, so just be wary. Stochastic's pretty overbought right now. RSI is pointing downwards, VWAP's starting to curl. Our money flow on the 1 hour rejected crossing neutral, so it could start to head down from here, and our momentum wave could start to curl and invalidate this bullish divergence that we have. So just be cautionary, much like the last few nights. Watch the next couple candles if you're going to try and get in any kind of a scalp trade. So over on graph, we did break our support like I was warning about, and we did touch our other support. So money flow is coming out. We have a red dot on our momentum. VWAP's heading down. Stochastic's still curling. RSI is heading down, and that stochastic's getting kind of close to a bearish cross. So overall, I'd say we're looking kind of bearish. This could be a little bit of a top pattern as we have a green candle, followed by a hanging man candle, followed by a red candle. I believe that's what we have on the daily on Bitcoin, but it's more like a hanging man followed by a hanging man, or possibly a doji. We'll have to see how that finishes out. So over on the 4 hour, you can see we come up, bounced off our support pretty perfectly. RSI is trying to head up, Stochastic's trying to head up. Money flow is making lower lows, even though price is trying to make higher highs, so that's a little worrisome, as that's a bit of a bearish divergence there. VWAP's starting to kind of curl over instead of come straight up through that neutral zone, so that's a little worrisome that we could start to fall flat from here. Our momentum's trying to curl, but with the way these other signals are, that momentum could start to round away just as easily. Over at the 2 hour, Stochastic's heading up with a little bit of a bullish cross, RSI's trying to curl up. Our money flow is barely above that neutral zone, VWAP rejected across to the bearish side and is heading up, and our momentum is coming up with the potential for a green dot to confirm. We are getting a little bit of a round here on the 2 hours, so that is a little bit of like a bottom kind of like you'll get here, and then we went up a little bit. So sometimes that'll be a bit of a low bottom when you see these rounds. Usually those are trend reversals. Not all the time though. As you see here, we got the round, went up, and then came back down. So not guaranteed you're going to the moon. Here you got the round, slightly came up, and then just crashed. Money flow on the 1 hour is pretty good into the bearish zone. It is trying to head up, but it's slightly starting to curl away here, so that's a little worrisome. Momentum's starting to curl away. It was heading up, got a green dot. So if it starts to head away, that'd be worrisome as well. Our VWAP's starting to somewhat curl off. Our RSI's starting to round off. And our Stochastic's getting a bit of a lower high and might start to round off if everything else starts to leach out. So I'd be a little worrisome. Over on ankr for the daily, we are bouncing off this support for our point control and the support that we had that I said we could drop from a few days ago. Stochastic's making lower highs, starting to curl, RSI's starting to head down. Momentum made a newer high, but it's getting a red dot and could start to fall from here. Our VWAP's starting to fall and go into the bearish zone. And our money flow is starting to curl away from the neutral zone down toward the bearish zone. So overall, we're starting to set up some bearish signals. Again, our next stop would be this value area low here. Don't know why I jumped to the 2 hour. Could go to the 4 hour here. Sorry about that. Stochastic's trying to head up. RSI's trying to curl up. Momentum's trying to curl up. Could get a green dot that could print, so that could be a bullish sign. VWAP's trying to head up. Money flow's not really bearish, it's kind of just flat under the neutral zone. So if that curls up with everything else, that would be a positive sign, and we could possibly break through this resistance here. As we are under it, so it is resistance. If we were above it, it would be support. Our Stochastic's heading up, RSI is pretty flat, even though our Stochastic's trying to make a run up. VWAP's trying to make a run up. Our money flow is very sketchy, it keeps going up and down. So it doesn't know where it wants to be. Momentum's trying to head up, but could kind of round out here. See, when you see that blue line start to thicken, that's usually when you start to get them rounds. So I'd watch out for that. So overall, we do have this resistance that we're running into, and it'll be a major resistance that could take us down if we aren't able to break through it. XRP actually managed to run up against everything. Probably because there's rumors of a tie verdict, which I don't know how I feel about. Gotta read a little more into what everyone's saying on that. Our Stochastic's trying to make a bullish cross. RSI is somewhat flat. Momentum somewhat, our money flow somewhat coming up bullish. And our VWAP's slightly took a little bit of a breather upwards and is trying to round up. So overall, we do have the potential to set up some bullish moves here. Over on the 4 hour, we're getting a green dot here, so that is a bullish sign that signals that we could get more run up, and that is preceded by a reversal arrow. Usually when you get in this order, where you get the reversal arrow then the green dot, that's when you'll get a good move up. Kind of like right here, reversal arrow, green dot, move up. Reversal arrow, green dot, didn't go anywhere, so just like everything, not 100%, reversal arrow, green dot, slight move up. Green dot, then reversal arrow, and then a red X. Big move, pretty good move down. So watch out for the inverse. Our momentum wave's coming up, VWAP's coming up, money flow's pretty dead, doesn't really know where it wants to go. Stochastic's trying to run up like crazy right now, but it's really tight, so we could kind of fall away from that. Looks a little better now that I zoomed in, but still pretty close. Our RSI is trying to head up, but it's starting to round off, so that's a little worrisome considering we have all this momentum behind it with the RSI. or stochastic rather. Stochastic's making higher highs, even though price is making lower lows, or lower highs, sorry. So that's setting up bearish divergences, so we could exaggerate this bearish divergence here. Stochastic's starting to round off, RSI is kind of tapering off, our momentum wave is starting to curl away, money flow is trying to come up, VWAP is heading down, so we're pretty mixed here. We do have that reversal with the green dot, but we got that right here and we fell down. So again, now is a guarantee that you're going to the moon. Over on the 1 hour, money flow rejected breaking bullish several times today. Momentum's trying to come up and make a newer high, but it looks like we're starting to round off here. Our stochastic's heading up, has a little bit of a bullish cross, but we're making lower highs here. And our RSI is trying to head up slightly, so we've got a little bit of mixed signals. We're going to need this money flow to come in if we're going to get any significant movement. Over on XR, or algo for the daily, figured out why those numbers are coming up, so I'm going to get rid of that soon so we don't see random numbers, so sorry about that. But stochastic's starting to head down, could get a bearish cross here, RSI is pretty flat, momentum's heading down, got a red dot that could confirm, and our money flow's in the bearish zone. It is slightly trying to come up. VWAP is in the bearish zone slightly, starting to get that break toward the bearish zone. So I'd say watch out, as we could get some downfall from here. We rejected this point control yesterday, and we haven't really gotten to push too far up. But this candle could, this candle could be a bottom candle too, as it's a green candle that has a long lower shadow. That represents sellers tried to push us down. We were not able to get pushed down, and ultimately we came back up. So if we can get this hammer candle to form, and then a bullish candle afterwards, that could confirm a pretty decent move up. Don't know if we have any examples on this chart. Here's like a bearish hammer, but then a bullish hammer after some downside. So then we got run up. Can't find a better example right offhand. But usually those can be a little bit of a bottom signal, but we'll have to see how the lower time frames are looking. Our money flow overall is heading up on the 4 hour, so that's positive. VWAP's heading up, momentum's heading up, stochastic's heading up pretty strong, and our RSI is heading up pretty well as well. The stochastic's a little further apart than XRP was, but not much, so it is kind of getting tight. So that could signal that we may get a little bit of a dip. So over on the 2 hour, stochastic's well into the bullish territory. RSI is heading up pretty well. Our VWAP's just making a run for it. Momentum I can't really see, but I'm a little worried we might be rounding here. Our money flow did try to break bearish, got rejected and headed up. So that is a positive sign for the 2 hours that we didn't let the bears get control. Over on the 1 hour, wish we could say the same. Momentum's kind of starting to curl off here. RSI's starting to point down, stochastic's starting to point down and has a bearish cross that could happen. And money flow rejected neutral, and it's coming down and curling away. So the bears have most of the control here on the 1 hour. We're going to need that money flow to curl away and come up, and that VWAP to kind of curl up, as well as probably get a green dot if we're going to see any kind of movement. But it's likely we could take a little bit of a dip. We didn't get that good of a run up today, so it's not like we need a retracement, but it could happen. We are in a bit of a down channel here, so just like Bitcoin, down channels usually are bullish patterns. So we could get a bit of a breakout here, might already be on one, so this could just be a retrace of that channel. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.